Hello and welcome to the video companion for the Talking Time Let's Play of Final Fantasy XIV. I'm McDowell and today we're tackling the level 41 dungeon, Stone Vigil. We're here today with Alphino and the Amnesiac, Master Cid of the Garland Ironworks, to investigate and find the wreckage of Cid's former airship, the Enterprise, after it crashed somewhere in the region 5 years ago on the day of the calamity. It took some doing to get in here, but having convinced many of the Ishgardian high houses that our heroes are on the up and up, that's all behind us now. Stone Vigil is crawling with dragons, ambushing from tight corridors and side passages, and wyverns dive-bombing these tight passages with fire breath attacks. This first large interior chamber can be very dangerous if teams aren't careful. There are several wyverns that patrol the corridors in and outside the room that will aggro on sight while players are engaging in the static enemies in the room. We'll see more of this in a later dungeon where it'll get even nastier. Dungeons are starting to get more challenging from here on out as we approach the ARR endgame. Can you believe it? After this, there are two more optional dungeons, one 4-player trial battle against Garuda, and 2 finale dungeons, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. The first boss here is Cheeto Udo, a wyvern-like enemy whose primary attacks are tonal AoE attacks that are unmarked. He has a smaller cone of fire red that he'll launch at the player with the highest threat, weaved in with those auto attacks. Then he'll move out to one side of the arena, face the middle, and fire off a large conal attack called Swinge. As he proceeds to the phases, he'll do this more and more often, so make sure you're watching for when he just decides to wander off to the edge of the arena. Be careful of Swinge. If you get hit by it, you'll be affected by both a silence and pacification for 5 seconds. Silence stops all casting abilities, and pacification stops all weapon skills, so it's really obnoxious and can be deadly if the healer gets silenced. Through the Brattices are some more wyverns and ice sprites, mostly inconsequential, so I'll take a brief moment to talk about the Holy See of Ishgard itself, since we've only just kind of scratched the surface of what it's about. Ishgard is a theocracy, ruled by the Archbishop of the Ishgardian Orthodox Church, an office currently held by Thordan VII. The patron deity is Halone the Fury. Currently there are 4 high houses that comprise the nobility of Ishgard: House Durandare, House Forton, House Halionart, and House Zemael. The last house we've had no dealings with yet. House Halionart has Lord Francel, who are our heroes, just absolved of charges of heresy against the Orthodox Church. Lord Orchefon of House Forton was an advocate for our heroes among the other houses, and House Durandare, one of the lords of which, Drillamon, granted our heroes leave to explore the Stone Vigil. Keep these 4 houses simmering in the back of your mind, as they're going to be important when we get to the first expansion of Heavensward, but that's a bit down the road. The second boss of Stone Vigil is Shay, a mean-looking wyvern. This chamber's layout is a little unusual. Tanks will want to grab Shay and drag him back toward the entrance to the chamber, as his conal attacks will need to be directed away from the cannons in the back of the room. He has several damage over time effects with his poisonous tail and typhoon conjuring abilities. These can be cleansed with Esna, so healers will need to be observant of that. Shay has a friend outside of the room, though. The final boss of the dungeon is Gabind. He will peek through the open-air windows to launch ice breath attacks inside. One player will need to load and fire the cannon pointing at the dragon outside to scare them off, so the rest of the party can continue to damage the boss without its outside interference. Further along are a bunch of trash enemies and one more side room. The side rooms in this area, like the side rooms in the Sunken Temple of Karn, contain optional treasure boxes. These boxes have a chance to contain worn and broken gear. These pieces of gear can be used by crafters to repair them into decent equipment that can be used at the levels at which they are marked. I've repaired some of this gear in the past and flipped it on the market board for a tiny profit, as leveling and crafting classes can be tough if you have weak gear. Oh. Oops. Let's go ahead and try that one again, shall we? In the final area, our heroes find the wreckage of the Enterprise, just beyond the resting Iskabind. Probably recovering from getting hit by those cannonballs. Alphino comes up with a plan. He and Sid will sneak over to the Enterprise to get it airworthy, while Satsensweet and friends provide a distraction for the dragon should he wake up. However, there's an Ascian in the neighborhood, our old buddy La Habrea, who rightly assumes that Satsensweet is capable of besting Garuda. And so he zaps Iskabind with some kind of crazy magic and puts up a barrier separating Satsensweet from Sid and Alphino. Iskabind, as I stated earlier, is the final boss of the dungeon. Periodically throughout the fight, he'll leave the battlefield and start sweeping the arena with ice breath. Generally, when he leaves like this, everyone will want to spread out along the edges of the arena as he will target players randomly for sheets of ice, which leave persistent puddles on the ground. The impact of the sheet will cause paralysis, and stepping into it will cause frostbite, an ice elemental aspect of damage over time effect. DPS and healers should stay away from the tank, as when Iskabind returns, he'll land on top of the tank, damaging and pushing anyone nearby. But melee should be ready to instantly re-engage with moves like shoulder tackle. Rhyme Wreath is a raid-wide party damage attack, so healers will want to stay on top of that as well. And that'll wrap things up here. Thank you very much for watching this video. The link to the full Let's Play is in the description below. And may you ever walk in the light of the crystal.